we think surviving the Stone Age was a non-stop grind. Wake up, run from a tiger, dig up a root, run from the tiger again, die at 30. That's what the textbooks told us. But an anthropologist named Marshall Solins, back in 1966, gave a talk at a conference provocatively titled Man the Hunter, and basically said, "You're all wrong. Hunter-gatherers weren't poor. They might be the wealthiest people in history. Not in money, in time." Researcher Richard Lee went into the Kalahari Desert to study the Kung people and started counting the hours. Turns out, getting food, hunting, gathering roots, mongongo nuts, the Kung spent between 12 and 19 hours a week on it, less than the average office worker spends on email alone. The rest of the time, they rested. They napped during the day. They told stories. They made jewelry. They bickered over small things like normal people do. S&M, Solins called this the original affluent society, not because they had a lot of things, but because they had few wants and plenty of free time. Wealth isn't how much you have. It's the gap between what you have and what you want. Sounds like an ad for some desert wellness retreat. But wait, it gets more interesting. Decades later, another anthropologist, James Sussman, spent over 25 years with the Juhoansi, also in the Kalahari. He confirmed it. Hunting and gathering really is only around 15 hours a week. But he added one more piece of truth everyone forgets to quote. If you add in the chores, cooking, fixing tools, childcare, patching up huts, that's another 15 to 20 hours. Together, that's 30 to 40 hours, which is roughly a normal work week, just without meetings, without deadlines, and without a boss messaging on Sunday night saying whenever you get a chance. And this is where the story stops being just cute, because if Stone Age people worked about the same, or even less, then what actually happened next? The answer: agriculture. About 12,000 years ago, people started planting wheat instead of just gathering it. And ironically, that became the worst deal in human history. A farmer works longer than a hunter, much longer. A crop has to be sown, weeded, protected from pests, harvested, threshed, stored, and all of it depends on weather that doesn't ask permission. Instead of 15 hours, whole seasons of nonstop labor appeared. And there's malnutrition too, since the diet shrank to a few grains instead of hundreds of species of plants and animals. The skeletons of farmers from that time are shorter and weaker than the skeletons of hunter-gatherers who lived thousands of years earlier. In plain terms, humanity invented agriculture, and the workday got longer while health got worse. The greatest marketing trick in history was calling it progress. Next up, the Industrial Revolution. In 19th century Britain, factory workers worked 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's already 60 to 90 hours a week. Compared to that, a Stone Age person looks like a retired executive on vacation in the Maldives. Only in the 20th century, after decades of strikes, union battles, and people literally dying while demanding a day off, did the work week start shrinking back down to 40 hours. And now, the big twist. Because 40 hours is just the official number. Add the commute there and back. Add checking work email in the evening. Add cleaning, cooking, driving the kids to activities, paying bills, waiting in line at the clinic. Researchers who calculate the so-called full workload of a modern person come up with numbers around 50 to 60 hours a week. So after 12,000 years of agriculture, industrial revolutions, computers, washing machines, and 20-minute food delivery, we've basically circled back to the same overall workload that a hunter-gatherer had with a digging stick. Except he didn't have a chat with 30 unread messages. So next time someone says life was harder back then, you can politely point out, it wasn't harder in the Stone Age. It got harder right after someone decided that growing wheat was a good idea. Stone Age foragers worked less than you do, and they probably slept better too.